We back with another reaction. What's good? What's good? What's good? We gotta listen. We gotta talk about this. We really gotta talk about this. I don't know if you guys have if you guys have listened to Tyler's album as of yet. If you haven't, it's an experience, man. It's an experience that you gotta really just kind of sit down and listen to. It's not too long. It's like emotion provoking, it's thought provoking. It's a lot of different things. We did actually react to that on the channel already. If you guys haven't seen it now, YouTube did block my video from view yesterday, right? YouTube did block my Tyler, the Creator video from view. I had to go in and get rid of some things in order for it to be playable. But unfortunately, due to that kind of stunting the growth of where it was, it kind of like went down into the dump. So if you guys have not seen that video of the full album reaction, make sure you guys check that out. It would definitely, it would be greatly appreciated, man. But make sure you guys hit that like button. All right, man. So we got a video from Fantastic Hip Hop. And I posed the question to all of you guys out there because with the quality of music that we received yesterday, and you kind of have to start, then you don't have to, but you kind of draw comparisons from the other music around it. And in my opinion, this is just levels and levels and levels and levels above some of the music that we've seen. And with all of the shifts and the changes and the differences in everyone's big three conversation, I think it's good to ask the question, is Tyler in the big three? Would you put him in the big three? And if you wouldn't, what's your criteria? How do you find who's in your big three, or you know, how do you get your big three, man? So let me know that in the comments. I definitely want to hear from that. Shout out to Blunt, shout out to Normal Nerd. This album sound like some old unreleased Odd Future albums. Does it really? Sounds like that to you? Respect, respect, respect. But let's go ahead and get into it, man. Shout out to Fantastic Hip Hop. As I always say, man, make sure you guys hit that like button on his video as well. 77,000 views from a day ago. So let's go ahead and tap in with it.
Now, after waiting more time than we ever have between his full-length studio albums, Tyler, the Creator, has finally released his brand new and most hyped up record yet, Chromakopia. And while just from a single listen, anyone can tell you that there is so much to discover and digest about this record, what's abundantly clear is that even with the pressure being higher than ever and Tyler being on what has become one of the greatest runs.
Well, real quick, just to address the timepiece, you know, he said this is taking him the most amount of time between albums. You can tell, you can see it. Now, the homie in the chat says it sounds like old Odd Future. I am so far beyond that. The sounds used in this album were next level. They sounded elevated. They sound carefully thought out. It wasn't a lot of wild, aimless energy or anything like that. It wasn't trying to be an album that makes you want to mosh or something like that. It wasn't like that. So I respect the opinion, but I didn't get that from this album. But anyway, just to address the time of it all, I think you can really tell when somebody puts a lot of energy and thought into every move, even from the rollout we saw, all the different videos we saw in the rollouts and stuff like that. The attention to detail is great with this.
We have ever seen from a rapper in terms of just, even with the pressure being higher than ever and Tyler being on what has become one of the greatest runs we have ever seen from a rapper in terms of just how amazing the albums he's been delivering are, is that the pressure has not gotten to him one bit, and if it has, it's only made him go harder, because from the very beginning of Chromakopia all the way until you finish listening to it over 53 minutes later, all throughout the record, you see that Tyler, the Creator, put everything he had as both a musician and a man into this album to make his most personal and compelling experience to date. And
facts. It don't seem like he left anything, like he left it all on the field. He left it all on the court. He left it all on the wax. He didn't leave any room for you to say he didn't go as hard as he possibly could. And I think that's what I felt about this album the most.
Than ever for his standards, which is already saying a lot. He put more emotion and personality than we have ever seen from him before throughout every single track on this record, which creates such a powerful experience that doesn't just engage you, the listener, more than nearly any other album these days can because of how captivating the prospect of all of this is in its sheer nature, But Tyler goes all out to make every corner and small detail of this project shake and stick with you for a long time to come, as he attempts to have us further understand his emotionality and most introspective of thoughts on a level that we have never seen up to this point.
Exactly.
And speaking of going all out, make sure you are all in on the channel by hitting that subscribe button so
Facts,
you are
hit that
updated
sub
on
button.
everything you need to know about Chromakopia, and leave a like while you're at it. And before you can even press play on this record, from the branding of the character Tyler is playing, whose signature prop this time around is a mask that's covering his face, to before you can even hear Tyler on the intro track and we hear the album's narrator, which instead of being a celebrity like Jared Carmichael, who narrated Igor, or a hip-hop legend like DJ Drama, who was talking all throughout Call Me If You Get Lost, the tone is shifted, and the precedent for what's to come next is never set in a more telling way, because serving as the voice of reason on this album is none other than Tyler's own mother, Bonita Smith, who kicks off things saying, "You are the light, it's not on you, it's in you. Don't you ever in your mother effing life dim your light for nobody."
Facts.
Which is a super powerful thing to say when you understand that this is advice she gave to her son, and ultimately, that these words serve as the frame of reference and compass that we see this version of Tyler try to find himself through. And so
I think that's why people, or when you have that kind of support, you're able to move as freely and as powerful as you can, because you got that nod from your mom. Your mom told you go out there and do it. And that's dope, man. That's awesome.
Being this personal, especially compared to an album like Call Me If You Get Lost, where Tyler was flexing to levels we have never seen, or even on a record like Igor, where despite how emotional that album was, he was projecting everything through a fictionalized world all throughout. Here, Tyler is in his most raw state in all senses of the word, and musically, even for his standards, which is again saying a lot. He just goes absolutely insane on this thing, as he just shows off how versatile his palette is.
Exactly.
And also how he can seamlessly fuse so many different styles together and put them all into one cohesive body of work. And while on the biggest songs Tyler previewed before the record, such as the intro tracks Saint Chroma and Noid, these cuts sounded so intense and experimental, and hearing them in full, they definitely are.
We need a movie from this too.
This project is so much bigger than just this. And while when many artists try to expand their sonic reach too wide in one album, they end up failing and making their record sound like an absolute
that's another thing I was gonna say too. Like, do y'all think that he was trying to expand the sound? Did this sound experimental to you? Like, I guess in a sense it does. I guess in a sense, because it was a lot of stuff that I heard that it was refreshing to hear it presented to us in a hip hop format. So I guess you could say it was experimental. And I don't really see anybody else falling in those footsteps or trying to do what he did, especially the way that he did it. Sort of. It was more of a mash of different genres. That's what I got. Like, he really leaned into like jazz, R&B, hip hop. He definitely he leaned into those things. And even with like the hook on Noid being I forgot the exact language, so excuse me, but just being in a different language, it seemed like he was really playing with different ideas for sure.
And this was one of the worries some people had for this album, as it did seem like Tyler was shifting back into the territory he explored on his 2015 album Cherry Bomb. Tyler thrives by living in unpredictability here, and this really should be no surprise, as when we look at the album run he has been on leading up to this, from the melodies of Igor to the rapping of Call Me If You Get Lost to everything in between, Tyler has mastered all of the pillars of his craft, and here uses everything he's grown into over the years to give us the ultimate highlight reel performance, where we will see him rap with more aggression.
That's a great way to put it. Ultimate highlight reel. That's a great way to put it. It's an ultimate highlight reel for him, where I feel like Tyler's been around for so long that you definitely have enough of a body of work to say, you know what I'm saying? Like, where you could see the growth. So I think that's fire too. Shout out to JWG. Most of what Tyler does is experimental.
Track like Ra-Ta-Ta, but then just a few tracks later create a hypnotic and atmospheric ballad like Darling I. And now beyond these songs just being a way for Tyler to show that he may just be the most versatile artist out in music right now, I'd go as far with that statement at this point, because who else is really rivaling this range? Tyler also uses the different vibes and styles of the tracks on this record to masterfully architect the story he is trying to tell, which, from going on this insane ego trip on Ra-Ta-Ta, where he is flexing about everything he has accomplished while also reminiscing on the high points of his journey over the years, to then Darling I, where right alongside the bubbly vocals and beat,
Facts.
he is exploring his emotions and delusions about love. Tyler really sets himself apart from 99% of rappers and really just all artists today because his storytelling is so multidimensional.
Bruh, I
As it
didn't
paints a
I
grander
didn't think
picture.
that his storytelling was that good. Like, I'm not saying like in the album, I'm saying like up until I had heard the album, I didn't really envision him as a storytelling artist. He tells a great story, and it seemed almost effortless. It didn't seem like he was reaching or anything like that. Jojo, he has gotten inspiration from Mr. Morale. That's exactly what I said. I feel like it was really an introspective, his version of Mr. Morale almost. He has praised that album numerous times. Yeah, I definitely got that.
Than just putting words on paper ever could. As from the very subtle nuances in the instrumentals he is creating onward, every piece of his musical arrangements are all there to tell a story and give the listener the strongest emotional impact possible. And here more than ever, it really reminds you that whenever you get to witness an artist that is able to do this, whether it's someone like a Prime Ye, Kendrick Lamar, Andre 3000 back in the day, or Tyler the Creator now, it's really just such a marvel in of itself and is more definitive proof than anything else you can grapple with that highlights who are the sheer and utter best hip-hop artists in the world. And now speaking of being the best hip-hop artist in the world, another characteristic of these once-in-a-lifetime generational talents in hip-hop is their ability to curate an album experience and find the most creative and innovative ways to tell a story and make a track list flow and make sense. And now in the modern era of music and hip-hop especially, one of the most important parts of this process is of course the features that surprise listeners on this journey and masterfully gel into this crescendo the artist is trying to create. And now while Tyler almost had us and tried trolling us as he said there were no features on this album, as we already heard, Daniel.
That's what I said when I'm like, bro, he said no features. And then we get to, was it Sticky? I forgot I think it was Sticky, where he had like 7 features on the album, on the song. He's following in the footsteps of Cough Cough, someone we all know. Those 4 on a feature, just imagine. When he said that, 3 Stacks, Kendrick, him, and I forgot who the other person. When he said it, I was like, that would have been a crazy, crazy listen for sure. But that's why I asked the question at the top though, like, where does he stand with y'all? And I see almost 50% of you guys. If you guys haven't hit the like button, man, make sure you guys hit that like button. It's really, really appreciated. 50% of you guys say, yeah, he's kind of where I would consider to be a top 3 or in the big 3 conversation. So let me know what y'all think about that as well.
Daniel Caesar's vocals in the background of Saint Chroma, this already seemed like a joke, and fortunately it was, because the guests Tyler brings here only make this thing more exciting, and even when it seemed like Tyler may have went too far bringing in certain names and splicing them all together into one cut like with Sexy Red, Glorilla, and Lil Wayne on the song Sticky.
Yep.
He manages to somehow put it all together and make it work, which is just amazing and really an anomaly, because with this posse cut between Tyler, Wheezy, Sexy Red, and Glorilla, it's now joining a track like What's Your Name with NBA Youngboy from Call Me If You Get Lost as not just one of the standout bangers from the album, but due to the way it blends such a wide and shocking array of talent together and brings out the absolute best in them is genuinely amazing and a sentiment to just how fearless Tyler is as a creative at this point in his career, because seriously, who would just ever...
I would have never expected to see those names on a featured list together, and it blended well, but it's also because he only gave them like 6 bars. Maybe 8 bars he gave them. They was in and out. They didn't stick around too long, which is perfect.
Ever think to even do something like this and then execute it this well, and now beyond a mega collaboration like we see here. Other big names show up all over this thing, with 2 of the most memorable being Tizo Touchdown on Darling I,
who
just delivers some beautiful medley lines here that perfectly foil the performance and production of Tyler, and even more memorable and powerful than this feature, Chromakopia marks the first time we ever hear Tyler the Creator and Childish Gambino collaborate on a song, and after so many years of this collab being anticipated and desired by fans, we have finally got it. And while Gambino doesn't deliver a full-on verse or anything, just hearing his one-of-a-kind voice and amazing singing just changed the atmosphere of the entire record, makes it all worth it, and again, shows Tyler's rare-found ability to know how to use everyone he works with for the best sake of his vision and the art first, and not just the star power or marketing of the record by having a big name on it. And now joining this list and making...
I almost thought that was like a jab. That was like a jab at Khaled too, being like, this is the way you do the features, bro. You don't just sell the song because of the feature. You don't just promote the song and say this name, this name, this name, this name, and that's it. Like, I feel like the song came first. We vibe with the song, and then it was a surprise to just have features on it. I like that.
For an arguably better feature than these, and maybe even the best guest performance on the entire album. We see Tyler, the Creator, and Schoolboy Q collab for the first time in years, and while on the snippet Tyler released of this a few days before the record drop, it already sounded amazing with its hypnotic yet tense instrumental, which just allowed for Tyler to rap with a sense of ruthlessness and urgency that we hardly ever see. Q only manages to make things even better here, as his haunting bravado perfectly matches the energy of Tyler and the beat. And now when it comes to Tyler, the Creator working with rappers from Top Dog Entertainment, Schoolboy Q isn't the only MC we see here, and while many people wanted to see Kendrick Lamar on this album, which while I get from a hype standpoint, in reality, Kendrick being here probably would have taken away from the actual story and narrative of what Tyler was doing here, and just made whatever their collab was.
I didn't think about that in the moment. I didn't think about that, but I for sure was like a Kendrick feature on this album would have taken it over the top, but then all anybody would have talked about is just the Kendrick feature. Like, nobody would have talked about the album. So as good as it would, and that kind of says something about even like the current state of like the music and stuff like that now, where you see people are just paying so much more attention to anything Kendrick Lamar, anything Drake, all the attention is going there. And it's a little funny to see. Because a lot of people say, man, we're tired of hearing about that. We're tired of hearing about that. But then as soon as somebody does something or says something, that's all anybody wants to see. And then we would have been listening to that to see if there was digs or jabs at Drake or something like that. We got to get back to just enjoying the music too.
It's too much of a spectacle to release it at this moment, because based on the way Kendrick and Tyler keep showing love to one another, I'm sure they have worked on something together that we may eventually hear, but just not yet. But now in the meantime, joining the world of Chromakopia masterfully, we see Tyler feature none other than the rapper who Kendrick Lamar said is the hardest out right now in Doechii on the track Balloon. And with Doechii getting the biggest feature spot of her entire career, she makes sure people will remember her name by showing off her one-of-a-kind energy and lyrical ferocity that makes her such an electrifying MC and performer. And with the energy she brings to the table here, Doechii really shows herself to be the perfect match to Tyler, the Creator, and ultimately with all that was a hard feature into the world of Chromakopia, and Tyler really using every single voice.
He kind of like set the platform up and just let her run. Like, I feel like I think he went first on that too, right? Like, he went first and then Doechii came in afterwards. He set the stage and let her just cook. I like that.
As an instrument to enhance the project, even in such instances where he is using just a single Baby Keem ad-lib to create the perfect moment on a track like Him. Chromakopia makes for arguably his best use of guest performances yet. And now between this, the dynamic and detailed production, which Tyler is the sole producer of aside from the intro track, which he co-produced, well, Tyler, the Creator, pulling all of this off is nothing new at this point, because on each album since Flower Boy, he has only further harnessed all of these skills and grown them. I don't think people realize yet how impressive it is that now Tyler has delivered not one, not two, not three, but 4 entire albums that reach a bar of quality that few rappers and artists ever even reach once. And I mean,
which is why if it's not a conversation that I'm creating, but it's why you asked the question. Is he in the big 3? Where does he rank? When you got album after album after album that quality-wise is so far ahead of your peers, but because you don't maybe discuss the subject matter that they do, you don't get considered? I don't know if I like that. Make sure you guys hit that like button, man. We got 25 million people in here and less than 10 likes in the stream. If you guys don't mind, run up the like button for me one time. I appreciate it.
Many rappers who we consider to be great, there are hardly any that have made 4 albums on this level, and really only a handful who have done so in a row. And with Tyler performing, writing, and producing on every single song here, this brings him into a tier that even fewer artists can hang alongside him in, because he has truly solidified himself as the ultimate artist you can be in today's era, as he holds more creative control over his vision than most musicians could ever imagine. And from the fact that he seemingly brought this world all to life with his own skills and mind first, to him literally putting this record out on a Monday where everyone can have a different and more personal listening experience with this record, because we can sit with it all day after day this speak, while
Exactly.
we go through our own routines. All in all, every single aspect about Chromakopia, as we can see, is right now proving itself to be more than a game changer. And while there is still so much to discover and explore about this record, and I definitely will be making more videos going deeper into it because Tyler has left us with so much to uncover,
we need a
so
deep
be sure to
dive.
subscribe to see that. What's clear is that this is another great album, and maybe even Tyler's best yet. And the fact that even
I
after
think it is
all
his
of this
best album.
time, all the accomplishments and awards and all of the pressure, that Tyler the Creator is still reaching that bar of quality needed to captivate audiences and make them question if this record is the best project we've ever heard from him. It truly says more than anything else we could ever put into words about his artistry, and without a doubt leaves him as one of the best rappers right now and of this entire generation with ease. And so now, with all of this said, let me know, what are your first thoughts on Chromakopia? What are your favorite songs on this record?
I don't, I got so many favorite songs on this album, man. I think that we definitely need a deep dive. Like, somebody needs to hit delete it up and tell them, hey, cue up the deep dive for this video so we can really dive into it and listen to it that way. But this album is crazy, man. I think Tyler definitely deserves his flowers for this album, and I think that for sure people need to start taking consideration into all the boxes he's checking, producing, performing, arranging. All that needs to be considered when we talk about who's in our big three, because I don't want to see a bunch of people in the big three that just rap, you know what I'm saying? Or they rap with help, you know what I'm saying? So we got to really think about that. But shout out to everybody for being here, man. Carnate, there's a song for different moods in the album. Love that. Pretty sure Deleted just dropped a deep dive. Oh, he did? Shout out to everybody in the chat, man. I got to get into that. Maybe we'll do that tomorrow. All right, man. I'm going to get up out of here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. If you're watching this on the playback, thank you for clicking on the video. I always say that, man. I really appreciate it. If you guys haven't already subbed up, hit that sub button. Join the family. We're on the way to 20,000 subs. I appreciate everybody for doing so. And make sure you guys hit that like button, share this video so it gets seen. I'll see y'all in the next one, man. Y'all have a great rest of your day. I'm out. Peace.